All right, so let's talk about it. Y'all played MadLibs before with your kids? They're really fun, right? We had a Christmas version of it this year that we pulled out. That was really fun, and the kids were laughing their heads off about Santa and the elves and what happened. And all we did was filled in the blanks with just funny adjectives, nouns, whatever else, colors, and everything else. And it was really fun. But this marital version of filling in the blanks is just really no fun at all. And so we want to kind of help you understand what you mean. We're going to develop this a little bit further. But go ahead.
So in the game of Marital MadLibs, a couple does a lot of filling in the blanks as they draw their own conclusion as to why their spouse's behavior isn't in alignment with their expectation.
All right.
So let's unpack this a little bit.
So if you go to the next slide, we talk about it with our couples as a gap between the E and the B. The E, the expectation, the thing that I thought was supposed to happen or would happen or should happen, and the B, the behavior. Now, when these things are in alignment, all is well, right?
So I asked Todd, hey, Todd, what time do you think you'll be home from work? 5 o'clock. Okay, he gets home at 5 o'clock. Expectation was Todd's going to be home at 5 o'clock. Todd gets home at 5 o'clock. These E's and B's, they line up so nicely. We don't even stop for a moment to say, the E and B lined up, we're good. Right? Because it just is there. That's what we expected, and that's what we got.
But what happens when there's a gap, right? Go for it.
Todd gets home. I asked Todd, what time do you think you might be home? 5 o'clock. What time does Todd get home? 5:45.
Okay.
What am I left with?
Let's just go through it. Let's have an experience with some wives here for a minute. I said I would be home at 5 o'clock. Wives, it's 5:05. What are you thinking? You're thinking 6 o'clock. Okay. We said the wives get to speak right now. Okay. What is it? 5:05. What are you thinking? Where is he? He said he'd be home. A little bit of grace.
Maybe he ran late. Maybe he had to stop and get some gas. But a little train
Could
exactly.
be a train.
Stoplight. What ran too long? Okay, a little bit of grace.
All
5:05.
right.
5:15.
5:15.
Exactly.
Where's
the message?
Right. I'm looking at my phone. He should have texted me by now. This 5:15.
Where else does our mind go?
Okay.
If you have a people-pleasing husband like mine, where does your mind go?
Stepping out of the way. What's going on here? He's
busy with somebody else. He's prioritizing their need above what he said he would do for me. Okay.
Okay. Is that what's happening? Okay. What else is going through your mind? Anything? 5:15? Huh? He's in an accident.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, you jumped really far. But yeah, I mean, hey, if you're usually on time at 5 o'clock and 5:15 rolls around or whatever, yeah, I mean,
Let's say it's 5:30 now.
5:30. Here we go again.
Here we go again.
Okay, we got a pass.
He said he was going to be home at 5, but does he ever get home the time as he says he's going to get home? There you go.
Okay. Anybody else? 5:30? Got a thought? Oh well.
Oh well.
Fine. We ate. Because the kids are like, where's Dad? I'm like, I don't know. Just go ahead. Eat his too. Doesn't matter.
Amen, brother.
Just go ahead. He knows how to pour a bowl of cereal. He's fine. All right, now it's 5:45. Okay, you are going to get some silent treatment. You have a chance, and maybe some charades, right? The silence treatment is a charade at a certain point. You're going to walk in. And you might be handed a baby also, by the way. So you might be handed a baby. You might be given the silent treatment. And yeah.
So overall, this was a lot of negative thought, right? A lot of negative emotion, right? So between 5 o'clock and 5:45, I've had a lot of negativity fed into my body right now by my mind. Because my mind has to fill in the blank.
You cannot
leave the blank empty between the E and the B. It's 5 o'clock, it's 5:45. There has to be something that goes inside that blank. Biologically, physiologically, our minds have to go there.
Now, this happened to us once, and I don't know that it was 5:45, but it was like a 5:30 situation.
No, it was 5:45.
Okay.
He's terrible with time.
But the point was, I was new to I had a new experience in my job. I was also being called to go to a home for a house visit with somebody who was surgery or whatever it was going to happen. And I needed to go and minister to this family. I headed out, and my GPS took me a little weird, and I finally got there. But then I got there and realized I didn't have a charger for my phone. So now I'm going into a house where I know my phone's about to die, but I got to give these people some time. But the problem is I'm not a very good timekeeper just in my head. Like, I don't feel time. You know what I mean? So I'm in there. I'm ministering to somebody. I look at my phone. Yep, it's dead and gone. But I'm trying to guess. Well, it's probably only been about 15 minutes, right? It's probably been more like 25. But anyway, right? And so I'm doing my ministry thing. Finally, I get back in my car, and I'm headed home. So until I actually walk in the door, I don't actually know what time it really is. But I walk in the door, and there's Tammy. And she hands me a baby. But see, thank God we were on the other side of the terrible way we used to live. She hands me a baby, and she says, you're late, but we can talk about this in a little bit. Can you help me with the serving up the dinner?
Actually, at that time, we were supposed to be getting into the van because at 6 o'clock we were supposed to be somewhere.
Some soccer somewhere.
So I am literally handing him a baby, saying this person needs their shoes on. We need to get in the van because we are going to be late to soccer.
And I knew I was operating in grace, but it wasn't our old life, which would have been more like, where the heck have you been? What are you doing? You never get home on time. Why do I even bother asking you what time you're going to come home if you're going to always just do whatever you want? And you're probably people-pleasing again, weren't you? Who asked you for some help this time? Glad you could serve them. That's really great. What about the rest of us? You don't give a crud about us, right? I mean, I know I'm painting her out to be a really bad person, but it was something like that.
Pretty close.
Something like that.
I'll be honest.
So what are we going to do? You have to fill in the blank, right? And here's what most people do. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
you got to you got a couple blanks to fill in on your page there.
We close the gap between the E and the B by clearly communicating our expectations in the first place. It's hard to meet unknown stated expectations. Okay, so we did clearly state the expectation was 5 o'clock in this instance, but Let's go with another example of not stating our expectation. So I have to leave for a MOPS meeting one evening, and my expectation is that the kitchen would be cleaned up from dinner when I get home from my MOPS meeting. That's my expectation. But I don't state it. It's just what's in my head, right? So I get home from my MOPS meeting, and guess what? Kitchen's not clean.
The garage was really well organized. Just saying. I'm just saying. It was looking good out there.
Where I went wrong was I did not state my expectation. Hey, babe, I would really love it when I get home from MOPS that you would have had the kids help you out with the kitchen, and the kitchen would be clean by the time I get home from MOPS. Do you guys know what MOPS is? Am I speaking a different language? MOPS is Mothers of Preschoolers. I ran a couple of MOPS meetings in the different churches, and so I would go to MOPS meetings in the evenings, so Mother of Preschoolers. Anyways, so I did not state my expectation. It was unknown to him, therefore he did not meet my expectation. So it is very hard to meet an expectation that you don't know is there for you. This goes in so many different categories throughout your marriage. You'll understand once we give some more examples.
So your mind says you have to fill in the blank. And so this is what most couples do, like we've already illustrated. We just think the worst. We think the worst of our spouse. We think the worst of the situation. Maybe they're dead, alongside the road, whatever. But we also think the worst about their character. They don't care. They don't love me. They're a people pleaser, and they never please me. I'm always the last person they want to please, whatever. And it comes back in a bunch of negative things. And like Tammy said, these negative thoughts are negative emotions. Negative emotions hit us in our body. We are feeling them, right? But here's the thing, is that pretty soon you're going to receive the truth. Now, of course, when I got home and I said, hey, I had to do this, my phone died, I was out further than I thought I'd have to go, blah, 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 blah. But what was the truth? Even though the truth was still not great, was it all the things she thought of?
He doesn't love me. He was purposely trying to people please. He doesn't care about time, which he was really trying to care about time, but his phone wasn't charged. He didn't, all of the things that I had negatively believed about him, right? are now no longer, because I now know the truth of this situation.
But those emotions and those feelings and those thoughts, they already came to play. They already had the effect. And so now she not only is way up here and off to the right of what's true, but now she has to come down from those emotions, accept what's true, and come over here and receive the truth about it. And now we got to deal with the truth. And whether the truth was a bad truth or actually a good one.
So in the past, I would have given him my mean spiel the second he got home at 5:45, and then our whole night would have been the silent treatment. Wall up, done, not talking to each other, just do what we got to do, get the kids to where they need to go, and we'll see if we ever get this talked over, right?
Right.
But in our healing phase, on this particular night, I tried to do this.
Believe the best.
I tried to believe the best, that because we were in our healing phase, that he truly didn't mean to be all of these negative things. I tried to fill in the blank with something more positive. I know that there's got to be an explanation to this. He's been really trying to be home on time at 5 o'clock, or when he has stated that he was going to get home. He's been really trying to find more ways that we can connect, and he knows that time is one of my key connectors. And so I just truly believe there's got to be a better answer to why he's so late. So I handed him the baby. I said, could you please help us quickly get out the door? We really do got to get to such and such at 6 o'clock. And we didn't put a wall up. Did we discuss it? Not at that point. We didn't, because we had the children and we were trying to get on with our evening. But then as we closed our evening out, I was able to say, hey, bud, can we talk about our
Why you were so late
today?
I was tempted. See, here's the difference. I was tempted to start thinking all these things. Temptation and actually like grabbing a hold of it and living it is a totally different thing. I was tempted, but I batted that away in order to think the best of you during this gap. And now I'm interested to hear what's the truth so that we can move on. And the cool thing about that is that once we were able to establish the truth, we were also able to get on to some solutions about how to not have this experience again. I need a phone charger for my car. I didn't have one. Let's go get one. It'd be worth having, right? Like, we got to some solutions together. Whereas our old life, we would just blow up and we'd never get to any solutions.
But before we even got to solutions, what Todd was able to do was he was able to validate me. Hey, babe, I know that was so frustrating, and I know that you probably were so tempted to think the worst about me in these times. And I'm really sorry, especially in this phase of healing, and we know better, so we need to do better. And he was able to validate how frustrating of an experience that was. And he was also able to say, I really appreciated how you handled yourself when I walked in the door and I was 45 minutes late. I didn't get lambasted with all your bullets of what I didn't do, right? Mm-hmm. He was able to feel respected at that moment and loved by me. Were we totally great with each other? No. But we were able to have a more communicable conversation after the fact because I was able to bat away some of the negativity. Strive to align your B's with your spouse's E's. We show our spouse love and respect when we live out and live up to known and enthusiastically agreed upon expectations.
Now that seems like a mouthful, but we want you to key in or maybe circle and even underline twice the word enthusiastic. We try to generate as often as possible in our marriage enthusiastic agreements. So when we talk about expectations, we try to say to each other, hey, what can I expect? Can you be home at 5? And I don't do anymore what I used to. Yeah, I think I can be home at 5. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm never going to make it home by 5. But that's what she wants. So I'll just try to do that and shoot for the best.
What do we call that, Todd? That is called compliance.
Yeah, I'll comply with you, but I don't fully agree with you. And so Tammy and I try to talk things through to the point of enthusiastic agreement. We both understand what the agreement is or the expectation is. And if the expectation is too high, we adjust the expectations from there. Or we talk about those things.
Or he can be honest and truth. Hey, babe, I think I need to miss dinner. I won't be home at 5. I'll be home at 5:30 to help you with the second half of trying to get carpool done and getting people to where they need to go. Okay, I'll take honesty over being late any day. Any day. If you truly don't feel like you could be home at 5, then just give me your honest answer. And I love that way more and respect that way more than being late.
Wishful thinking on
Yeah.
my part. Maybe I can fulfill this. I'll say yes, though I don't have an enthusiastic agreement. So yeah, try that.